What's up, guys? So I just got back from work. It's Friday. It's the end of my first week at McBain's. Oh, it's bright as fuck. Most people go to the pub on a Friday night. Oh look, the sun's gone down. So, first week. Oh, brain food. That is the dumbest thing to be recording right now. Okay, so ice cream is finished. Let's get to the video. On Monday, I recorded a video, as you can see here, or here, wherever the thing is, where I talked about my first day, first impressions, what I actually did on the day. But I finished my first week. It's been really cool. I've been very busy, surprisingly. Actually, not surprisingly. Well, I didn't know I was gonna be this busy. So in this video, I'm gonna talk to you about my first week, what I got up to, some technical stuff that I learned, opposed to last time where I didn't know any abbreviations or any of the lingo. I'll also give some advice for your first week at an internship or a summer placement, depending on what you're doing. So if you're watching this video in the summer or in the winter, or you're about to start your internship, you know the sort of stuff to look out for. Oh, the sun's coming back. My first week revolved a lot around learning a lot of different programs. First one was a TAS program, thermal simulation software, which is really interesting because I always thought that in a house, heaters, air conditioning units, and vents and all of that stuff was just placed randomly. But in the TAS software, you make a CAD model of a house, tower, whatever, and what you do is you simulate the sun as it goes around the house. It lets you know which areas of the house get heated more than others, and using weather data, you find out at what point is the hottest. They use it all the time. So that was TAS. Another task was to find out the best program to do a life cycle analysis, or LCA for short. And what LCA does is that it allows you to input data of the building materials, manufacturing processes, the equipment that is used, so you can calculate over the life cycle of the building how much CO2 it will produce. This data you give to investors, they will look at it and they'll be like, oh, this building produces too much CO2, we don't want to invest in it because it will look too bad on us. But if you use this manufacturing method or you use these materials, you produce less CO2. So to split construction into different sections, you have MEP, which stands for Mechanical, Electrical and Plumbing. It's just a sector of engineers that work on plumbing systems, vents, heaters, elevators, staircases, air conditioning units, stuff like that. You also have the Structural, which is pretty straightforward analysis of the actual structure. Project managers split up different tasks and delegate those to different engineers in different sectors. And you have the architects. In the last video, I mentioned how an architectural firm would give engineers a model, and the engineers would be like, you can't do this, you can do this, you have to do this a different way. Whereas in an actual construction consultancy, the architects use the information from the engineers to make the actual building. You also have the civil engineers who are in charge of doing sustainability. So what I was doing for LCA goes under the civil engineering sustainability sector, although I'm a mechanical engineer. Another thing that I did was that I used Autodesk AutoCAD to size different rooms, put heaters in different locations, change the piping to different places, to the sinks, for the taps. I worked on an NHS building, which was really cool because if it ever gets built, I would go to that sink and be like, ha, I put that sink there, you're welcome. Sort of dragged and dropped heaters and was like, yeah, this goes here because of the TAS simulation that I was talking to you guys about. I saw the different things that I was learning actually come into place. One of the really cool things is that you may be doing little amounts of work, but they make a massive impact on a large project, which is very different to what I'm used to, because when I did an internship in China, everything that I was doing was big because it was for a small product. I worked on an e-bike converter kit, but I had to develop an app and do some testing of a wheel that would go on the back of a bicycle and would turn any bicycle into an electric bike. Also this week, I tried so many different types of coffee. The coffee machine is free, and I swear to God, I tried a mocha for the first time ever. At first I was like, oh, this is amazing, it's chocolatey, I can feel the sweetness rushing through my veins, I'm in love. Halfway through, I was like, I'm gonna die, I have diabetes. It was definitely an experience. After having 3 of those, I had a headache. Anyways, talking about coffee and going into the kitchen, one of the main things that I did this whole week was network. I was speaking to different people from different departments because they all saw that I was an intern, fresh face and everything. The TV had football on. I'm not the biggest football fan, but Colombia was on. And it's the World Cup, so I was like, looking forward to next week because I will be doing a virtual reality training. What they're going to show me is how they use virtual reality headsets to go into buildings and explore the different foundations they made and see if things are working or not, which is something they actually do a lot apparently. So actual advice for you guys that are going into a placement year. The one thing I learned is that, sure, you can learn a lot of skills in your workplace, develop new skills in a program, how to do reports and all of that stuff, but the most important thing is the connections that you make. When I explained to people there what I'm into and how I have a startup company, they said, add me on LinkedIn, talk to me a little bit more about it. Stuff like that is very, very useful because I'm here for only 2 months and a bit. When I leave and I go to work somewhere else, I might have to learn a new program. I might have to learn a new system of writing reports, different syntax for how I produce work. So the actual stuff that you learn isn't as important as you might think. Sure, it's great and it's a good skill, but I'm not gonna download the task software and do the same thing in a company that uses a completely different software or doesn't even use the software at all because they outsource it to somebody else. The context that you make is very important. At first, where I was sitting in, everybody was really quiet because I guess I wasn't being as extroverted as I should have been. But the more I talked to them, the more jokes they made, the less awkward they felt around me, and the more I found out about them. But I found out that one of them used to be a freelance CAD designer, so people would actually contact her to make CAD drawings. My startup company, that would be quite useful, and for things in the future, that would be quite useful as well, because to get their advice on something, that would be great. I also found out that some of them were Colombian. I was like, hey, speaking in Spanish and stuff. I felt in my zone. I was like, hola, and they were like, hola. I was like, hey, and they're like, hey. You have to make an effort sometimes. You never know, if you leave, things might change. Those people might want to go somewhere else and they know you're working somewhere else or you have something of yourself. They might want to work with you afterwards. You got to think about sort of the long term with that stuff. So the next thing is to be proactive. You have to ask questions. You have to ask for work. If you don't ask for work, they won't give you anything. If you're quick and you get things done, they will give you more stuff to do and the work just becomes more and more fun. Wow, there's a fly. Because you're actually being challenged. First 2 days, I'd finished the work early. I kind of got bored a little bit, so I started asking for more work and they gave me more work and I realized Camilo can actually do this, Camilo can do that. So definitely be proactive. Another thing that's very important in your internship is to open up yourself for criticism. Think about it. Teachers will criticize your work. They'll mark you down for something. Your friends will be like, oh, this is good, but this. So do the same thing at work. If you finish something, or what I sort of did this week was I kind of finished stuff, but I sort of sent it to them being like, hey, this is an update. Let me know what you think so I can improve on it. When they see that something's still being made and there's still a process for it, people feel validated to give a little bit more input and feel like, oh, maybe he can do this, maybe he can do that. So open yourself up for criticism, something that I would definitely recommend. If you're very bad at handling criticism, I know I heard this in a podcast once, that if you're very sensitive to criticism, forget about it, take a break from it, and then when you're very relaxed and calm or at home playing Call of Duty, rephrase it how you would tell it to yourself. Because sometimes when people say something, it might come off as they're trying to be rude or they're not considering how much effort you put into it, but maybe that's just the way they speak. If you're not used to receiving criticism like that, it's best for you to take a second, step back, and then process things slowly. Criticism is something that you should seek and also learn to accept. So I hope you enjoyed this vlog. I tried to keep it short because I didn't want to flood you guys with information about my internship and stuff like that. But the more I learn, the more I can teach. So hopefully you actually enjoy this. If you're seeking internships, or maybe you want to find out how to do speculative applications, which is something that I personally did to find and actually receive offers for certain jobs, I can do that. Just sort of teach you what to write, how to not be afraid of asking for a job, or how to not be afraid of asking for somebody to hire you or give you some experience. I think that'll be quite helpful. I don't know what you guys think. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you want to, dislike it if you want to. Leave some comments because I want your opinion. Also, I know I just said I came back from work and I'm in my work clothes. I am, but I changed my trousers because, like, who wants to be in trousers right now? Do you know what I mean?